Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, guys. Celtic Warband here, and welcome back to another battle in Napoleon Total War. In today's battle, the mighty Ottoman Empire attempts to hold back English and French expansion efforts in the Middle East. The Western nations covet the rich trade monopolies that the Ottomans have enjoyed over the past few hundred years. Keen to stop the English and French from becoming more powerful, the Prussian Empire has sent an army to aid the Ottomans in their attempt to push the Western forces back. The first army we have on the battlefield today is, of course, the Ottoman Empire, commanded by myself, and we're going to keep it paused during the army comps because the battle begins immediately, and there is conflict within probably the first 5 to 10 seconds of this battle. So we'll keep it paused while we look at the army comps, and then we'll get the battle started right after that. But in the front lines, I have 4 units of the Samat Janissaries, which are the melee infantry, so they don't have guns, they just charge into melee and cut units to pieces. So I'm hoping to use those effectively, that's why they are in the front line. Right behind that, for most of my cav, I have 3 units of the Chaternal Camel Gunners. Not the best cavalry in the world, but I was hoping to just skirmish and then charge them in wherever I needed to. Right underneath, I should say, the Camel Gunners, I've got 4 units of the Nazim Kredik Rifles, so these are my light infantry. And then for my mainline infantry, I have 6 units of the Nazim Kredik Infantry. I've got my General's Bodyguard back here. I think he's just a basic General's Bodyguard. And then I have 2 artillery units. They are 18-pounder foot artillery. So they're not the fastest artillery in the world, but they should pack a pretty good punch once we get them into range. And that pretty much rounds out the Ottoman force, so let's go ahead and take a look at my ally. The second army on the battlefield today, and allied to the Ottoman Empire, is the Prussians, commanded by Graf von Moltke. I hope is how you pronounce your name. But in the front lines, he has 4 units of Jaegers. He's got 3 over here with his artillery, and then he's got 1 unit way over on the other side. His artillery is a 12-pounder foot artillery. He's got 2 of them, and they are already unlimbered, ready to go. For his mainline infantry, he's just gone with staple musketeers, 6 units of them, but he also has 2 units of foot guards right in behind that, and he has a unit of the 1st East Prussian Grenadier Battalion, so very, very good unit in melee as well, the Grenadiers. For his cavalry, he has a unit of the Brandenburg Uhlans, and he has some life horse, I think. Yeah, life hussars as well. And then we do have the general staff right behind that. And that rounds out the Prussian force, so let's go ahead and take a look at the enemies. The first enemy army on the battlefield today is Great Britain, commanded by Tactical Moss, and he's got his lighter infantry on the flanks and his heavier infantry in the center. So on his right flank, he has 2 units of the light foot. Very similar over on his left flank here, he has a unit of Lightfoot and a unit of King German Legion Lightfoot. For his center units, he has a Foot Guard unit, we've got a 42nd Black Watch unit, we've got the Coldstream Guard unit, and then right behind that he's got a Highland Foot and a King German Legion Foot, so 5 very elite units for Great Britain, but the rest of his units are all cavalry, which is kind of surprising. He's got 2 units of the King German Legion Dragoons here. He's also got 2 units of Dragoons, and then he has a unit of Light Dragoons and a unit of 15th Hussars. And of course his general staff is in the middle. So we'll see how that kind of works out for him, having kind of a 50-50 balance between infantry and cavalry. But his infantry isn't lacking. He definitely has a lot of elite units on the battlefield. Also for his artillery, he has the 9-pounder foot artillery and a 6-pounder horse artillery. So one of them being very fast and one of them being a little bit slower. And that rounds out the Great Britain force, so let's go ahead and take a look at his ally. The final enemy army on the battlefield today is, of course, France, commanded by Darkfire 2012, and he has a lot of double units here. It's a very long battle line, as you can see, but he's got 2 units of Chassé on the flanks. We've also got 2 units of Fusiliers of the Line. Then we have 2 units of Old Guard, which are more in the center here. We've got 2 units of Grenadiers of the Line, and then a Dutch Grenadier and a 6th Regiment d'Infanterie Léger. So a lot of heavy infantry for France. So where Great Britain kind of brought a lot more cavalry and didn't have as much infantry, France definitely made up for it with a lot of infantry units. For his artillery, he has 1 unit of the foot artillery, and then 1 unit of horse artillery. He's got his general staff in here behind the old guard. And for his 2 units of cavalry that he's brought, he's got the 7E Regiment de Chevaliers Lancés. I probably slaughtered that, my apologies. But then we have the Chevaliers Lancés over here as well. And that rounds out all of the French forces. So without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and get to the battle. Alright guys, welcome to the battlefield, and as you can see, the entire army of the Ottoman Empire is pushing very quickly to take this hilltop. Now, I do have my Chaternal Camel Gunners in the lead here, and it looks like they will be the first ones to get to the top of this hill. Now, taking this hill will be very useful because it gives a commanding view of the entire battlefield, and it also gives you some great positions to set up your artillery from to be able to bombard the opposing team. Now, looks like my Camel Gunners are the first ones up, but we do have Great Britain being very aggressive as well, pushing his light infantry up here to the top of the hill. And for those of you who did watch the army comps, you will know that Great Britain well outnumbers me as far as the cavalry goes. You can see my Chaternal Camel Gunners. I'm trying to kite the Great Britain cavalry, but unfortunately they are just too quick, and they actually get my camels in melee right from the get-go, which is really a bad start for the Ottoman Empire. You can see we've even got some more cavalry coming in. We've got the 15th Hussars moving in very quickly. I've got all of my infantry moving up here as well. It looks like he is thankfully going to charge into the gunners, though, the Chaternal Camel Gunners, instead of my Janissaries. I do not want to lose those Janissaries that early on. I'm charging them in to just give me the edge here in this cavalry engagement, though. Huge melee ensuing almost immediately. Unfortunately, it looks like he is going to lose most of his cavalry, though. All his dragoons are being shot by my Nazim Credit rifles. You can see them getting some excellent flanking fire here on those dragoons. The 15th Hussars are routing from the battlefield, as well as the light dragoons. So 3 to 4 units of cavalry for Great Britain has been annihilated on this hilltop, and he didn't really succeed in pushing me off the hill as I think he was hoping to. He did, though, manage to get some of his troops to the top of the hill as well. So it's almost a very large stalemate at this point, where neither of us really have full control over the hill. Now, we are going to spend the majority of the battle in this general area, because the Prussians and the French, they're content to kind of sit back and bombard each other for quite some time, but a very intense battle between Great Britain and the Ottomans is about to take place for this hilltop. You can see my Chaternal Camel Gunners moving around the flanks as well. We've got the 42nd Foot, the Black Watch over here. Surely they will be able to take out my Chaternal Camel Gunners. There we go, getting some really good volleys there while I'm not paying attention to my cavalry. However, this is a bit of a juicier target for me, the Light Foot. In a very thin formation, not able to form square, I'm going to charge my Camel Gunners in there and see if I can break them. One of my units was broken by the fire from the 42nd Black Watch, but I am charging another unit in. But I don't want to miss this here, where we've got my Samat Janissaries charging into melee against the Coldstream Guards. What a ballsy Ottomans we have here, taking on the Coldstream Guards in melee. Now, their morale isn't very good. They did, as you could see, lose quite a few in a couple of volleys as the Coldstream Guard were able to fire down upon them. But now, I've got 2 other units that are charging in, and the Coldstream Guard is this time not going to have enough time to volley my Janissaries. We've got a 3rd unit held here in reserve. That is because we've got another unit here of foot guards that is trying to form up to help the Coldstream Guards. You can see the Coldstream Guards here are already down to 120 men. We've also got another unit of light foot over here trying to help turn the tide of the 42nd Black Watch, who is really not doing too well against my camels, but I am going to try and disengage them as I see the light foot moving in to reinforce. Over here, it's a very close matchup, but I think my Camel Gunners are just going to have the edge over this light foot. And as you can see, the Prussian player is being very passive sitting back. He has conquered his hilltop over on the far side of the map, but I am also having to deal with French reinforcements that have moved over to help Great Britain captured this hilltop. And there we go. With the French reinforcements, my Chaternal Camel Gunners unfortunately have routed. Although you could see the 42nd Black Watch was actually routed as I charged in my Janissaries to take out these Great British units. And now the Lightfoot, I believe, yes, they are in melee and having a huge trouble facing my Samat Janissaries. These guys are absolutely monstrous in melee. Can see them just cutting down their foes left and right, and there we go. Broken on the battlefield. Now we do have some King German Legion Dragoons over here that could move in against my Samat Janissaries, but over here you can see that the two units that did conquer the hill, the Highland Foot and also the King German Legion Lightfoot, they are not having an easy time on this hilltop. You can see that I have my Nazim Credit Rifles, which far outrange the Great British Aligned Infantry, so we are able to just shoot them from afar and not have to worry about being shot in return. So the King German Legion Lightfoot is already down to 46 men, and my light rifles are quite healthy, save for this one on this far flank. I've also set up one of my units of line infantry here. You can see my Samat Janissaries, they are starting to waver. The morale isn't looking too hot right now. I mean, granted, they are engaged in melee against foot guards. We've got the King German Legion Foot and the Coldstream Guards, and they are doing such a good job, my Janissaries, at holding the line here. I was very impressed with them. Over here, you can see my Samat Janissaries are now battling the French, including some French cavalry that have moved in, but thankfully the Prussians have sent over some reinforcements, although they are just being shot to pieces by the French infantry here, the chassé. Look at all of that cavalry. Just annihilated before it even reached the French lines. There goes my Samat Janissaries finally breaking from the battlefield, and shortly afterwards, the Prussian cavalry retreats as well. We've also got some more cavalry from France moving in. Now, my line infantry here is a bit exposed. I was moving them to the top of the hilltop. We've also got this French cavalry that could be moving in against the Prussians, but thankfully he did notice that and he formed square. The French player quickly moving to go after the Prussian light infantry instead, but the cavalry is being shot to pieces by the... is this a unit of... Yeah, it's just musketeers. But there we go. Unfortunately, I was not paying attention over here. I was dealing with another area of the battle, and unfortunately, my infantry was charged by the King German Legion Dragoons. I do have a second unit that I am pushing over here, though. You can see that line infantry broke almost immediately, but thankfully I was watching for this one as we have the King German Legion Dragoons charging on in, and they are not fazed about us being in a square formation here. They are going to continue to move on in, actually charging straight through the square formation, and look, one of them actually battling the officer of the unit. That is insane. And he actually cut down one of the, well, it wasn't the flag bearer, but it was probably the spare flag bearer. I don't know why there was three in the center there. But the Ottoman officer holding strong there, and we need that standard, that Ottoman standard, to stay where it is. Come on, officer, take this guy down. Okay, it looks like he is going to retreat, and there we go. So we were able to fend off those King German Legion Dragoons, and they have shattered from the battlefield. Over here, though, we've got more trouble. The Coldstream Guards and the King German Legion Foot has powered on through. Thankfully, though, the Coldstream Guards are not focusing my line infantry here, and I will be able to shoot them down from afar while they hit that other unit that is in melee. And there we go. Look at all of those Coldstream Guards just being annihilated. A very expensive and elite unit there. And they have broken from the battlefield. A couple of the Ottoman infantry there, finishing off the last of the resistance. And look at what is left here. We've got some of the King German Legion Foot that is also trying to charge into melee, but they have broken under fire from the Ottoman infantry. Over here as well, I've got more of my rifles over on the flanks, again dealing with more foot guards that were victorious in that melee struggle versus the Janissaries, and finally the Lightfoot has broken from the battlefield, leaving Great Britain with 1 unit of King German Legion Light Dragoons, 1 unit of Dragoons, and a depleted unit of Highland Foot. He does have his general and his 2 artillery units though, which could come in handy for him later on. But I still have to deal with the French reinforcements over here as well. The Prussians are not faring too well over here. They did send a unit of 2 units of musketeers, in fact. We've also got some more cavalry, so that's well done on my ally there. Really good battlefield awareness seeing that cavalry so close by. The Grenadiers of the line are looking like they may break eventually. I'm not 100% sure, but I need to run over here because, yes, we've got another brave charge from the cavalry from Great Britain, actually hitting a lot of my credit rifles and destroying them. Unfortunately, those rifles are not able to form a square formation, and I did not have any cav to resist them. Thankfully, though, I did have a lot of infantry here, 4 units, in fact, that I was able to form square with, and they are pummeling this cavalry as they finish off my last unit of rifles. I'm hoping that they can hold strong. Come on, men, hold! Hold in the face of the great British cavalry. And it doesn't look like they're going to. Nope, they broke. That is very unfortunate. But we should be able to gun down the remainder of that unit. Let's quickly run over here and see what else is going on. With my help, it looks like we are starting to crack this French resistance here. However, we do have the Chevaux Léger Lancés over here. Looks like they're running down a depleted unit of musketeers. But there we go. Darkfire 2012, his general killed here. That was actually the French general. He was moving forwards, and I think an unlucky cannon shot actually slew the French general. So very unfortunate for Darkfire that his general was lost like that. He was moving it up, I guess, to provide a morale bonus to his nearby units. But that might have actually been my artillery. I was focusing over in this general direction, trying to weaken yet more French reinforcements from pushing on my flank. And I guess I accidentally killed the French general. So very unfortunate there, but a good boon for me. And again, guys, you can see that's why I'm not really focusing on this side, because it's very passive over here. It's more my ally and my enemy's ally are kind of just funneling in reinforcements over to our side. So really the great battle has happened over here, but unfortunately Great Britain at this point is out, and I am able to bring the remaining men from the Ottoman forces over to deal with the French reinforcements. And I do have a few units of infantry left. I think I have 6 units, 5 units total. Yeah, 5 units of line infantry, and then I have my general's bodyguard and my 2 artillery pieces. But that is pretty much all that remains of my Ottoman forces. We lost a lot of good men taking that hilltop. But now it looks like the French are forming up for a line battle. So what do they have here? We've got some 6th Regiment Infantry Léger. We've got the Dutch Grenadiers. They're going to be tough. And the Old Guard. Yes, the Old Guard is one of the best French units, if not the best French unit in Vanilla Napoleon. I'm still trying to fire down on these Fusiliers of the line, though, with my artillery. Unfortunately, it seems like most of the shots are either going too long or too short. So that might be poor positioning on my part. You can see the great British artillery is firing over the hill, trying to get some good shots on my infantry. But I don't think I have a very good line of sight. Over here, though, we can see we got the French general, what remains of him, and some Grenadiers of the line. But it looks like finally we have the Prussians pushing the French position here. Now, the French have moved most of their infantry reinforcements over to fight the Ottomans, so they have a very depleted defense here. We've got some chassés, we've got the Fusiliers of the line, and a depleted Grenadier of the line with 1 unit of Voltigé. But he does have a unit of Old Guard here, as well as his artillery, which are relentlessly firing down onto the Prussians. But this is bad positioning on the French players' part, because 2 of these artillery pieces, I think, aren't firing properly. because they're trying to focus on the Prussian Jaegers that are just behind this hilltop. So they're probably falling short there when they are firing. Well, let's run over here and see this epic battle between the Ottomans and the French, and just in time to actually catch a daring charge on the backs of the Fusiliers of the line by my general's bodyguard, throwing that unit to the ground. He can't stay in melee too long, though, but I did feel quite safe pushing my general in, because he's actually a decently sized unit. He's got 32 in there, well, 26 now, but a typical general, if we look at the Prussian general staff, is only 24. So the Ottoman general a little bit bigger than the standard general, so I did feel safe hitting the backs of that Fusiliers of the line. I really need to help my infantry as best as I can, because the Ottoman infantry just doesn't stand up against the French infantry. Especially these Dutch grenadiers. They are hammering my lines. You can see that the morale of these two units that are firing at the Dutch grenadiers is not that great. And over here as well, the Old Guard firing at this unit of credit infantry. Yep, they have just broken from the battlefield. And now I realize that if I do not break these units soon, I am going to lose to the French infantry. So another daring charge into the Fusiliers of the line, and that was a huge charge on an already weakened unit there. And they have broken, and what I'm going to do is to quickly get my general to charge the infantry, the 6th Infantry here, because they only have 35 men in that unit as well, so that would be 2 units of French that would be eliminated from the battlefield. Oh, the Dutch Grenadiers throwing their grenades into the midst of my infantry. Not very good. Come on, break them quick. There we go. Excellent. So the general has broken those 2 units, which was fantastic. Almost hit my own general, though. That was a bit of friendly fire. Very close. The general is right there, as you can see. Just missing him. And now the Dutch Grenadiers find themselves actually surrounded, as they had to move very close to be able to utilize their grenades. And now I am able to flank a unit of Nazim Credit Infantry to hit the Grenadiers in the flank, and you can see that they have broken right away. So things are looking pretty good here, but we still have to deal with that Old Guard. Let's zip on over here and see how the melee is going. It's crazy that in this Napoleon battle, I'd say most of the units actually were in melee instead of formulating a line battle. Very cool and unique battle that we had here. But I believe this is the Grenadiers of the line forming up. And we do have some 1st East Prussian Grenadiers, so Grenadier versus Grenadier. But it looks like the Prussians are just going to continue charging into melee, taking a leaf out of the Book of Ottoman Battle Strategy and just charging on in. But there go the grenades as well, as we have the cavalry charging in as well. Huge grenade volleys there on that unit of foot guards, and they are not happy to be in the midst of that. It looks like we also had the Life Hussars that were broken by the Old Guard. Over here, 2 units of infantry taking on the musketeers. We do have another unit of depleted foot guards that has returned from routing, and the general staff at another musketeer unit. But I just wanted to run over here and show you guys the end of the Old Guard. I formed a, I don't know, like a hexagonal shape around the Old Guard, and they finally broke from the battlefield. And that kind of frees me up to aid the Prussians by sending my forces over there to wrap up what's left of the French forces. Now, we did have that depleted unit of Highland Foot that returned from routing. We had them daringly trying to go after my artillery. Unfortunately, though, I guess that the Great Britain player was banking on the fact that I didn't know about canister shot, but I do know about canister shot, and as soon as these guys get close, I just start unleashing the canister shot. Oh goodness, a nice round shot there, ripping through 2 or 3 of them. But once they get close enough, I'm going to start in with, there we go, the canister shot starting to thin their ranks. And there's no way that they're going to be able to make it into melee against my 2 units of 2 units of artillery. Another volley there. Ooh, yeah, and there we go. A ton of them being slaughtered in that volley. And there we go. They were shattered. The Highland Foot not making it. A very daring charge to the 18-pounder foot artillery, but it just wasn't going to work. And I was totally confident that they weren't going to make it there. That's why I was bringing my 3 units of infantry back, just in case they did. But I had total faith in them. Over here, though, you can see that the Ottoman general's bodyguard wiping out the French artillery here. And we have the Prussian general and some Jaegers over here. Oh man, the French just under constant bombardment from that superior Prussian position, the 12-pounder foot artillery there, just firing down on them. You can see the grenadiers are moving forwards again, trying to use their grenades. They're very depleted, but then again, so are the foot guards. And look at that, we have a daring charge from the Prussian general into a fusilier of the line and a chassé. An extremely daring move for a very weakened general staff. You can see only 14 out of 24 remaining in the unit. He thankfully did break the fusiliers of the line, but I quickly charged my general in to keep my allies' general alive. I did not want to lose my allies' general because he has the majority of the infantry, I would say. Well, actually, that might not be true. He does have musketeers and Jaegers. Yeah, I guess maybe he didn't have that much left. But any little bit helps, and I didn't want to lose him to lose his general unnecessarily there, breaking those French, because we still have to deal with the very entrenched artillery position of Great Britain. But at this point, we are just mopping up the last of the French resistance, and now we actually have to move over to where Great Britain is and try and take out his artillery with our own, because if I just charge in all of my units, you saw how deadly canister shot is. He would just set up canister shot and rip through my remaining units. So there is a little bit of a lull here as we get our troops into position, so I'll bring it back to you once we are ready for the final advance. Alright guys, welcome back, and as you can see I have set up my 18-pounder foot artillery on that hilltop, but unfortunately they just aren't really that accurate. You can see that Great Britain has already damaged one of my 8 pieces of artillery that I have here on this hilltop, so I've just decided to start moving my Nazim credit infantry down, but I need to do this very carefully and I need to make sure that I spread them out, because as I said, that canister shot will do a ton of damage. But yeah, this 9-pounder foot artillery just is really accurate for some reason. It was really getting some good hits on not only my artillery pieces, but my artillery crew as well. Looks like he has refocused, though, to go after my infantry. Again, getting some choice hits on my credit infantry. There we go. Finally, the Ottoman artillery meeting its mark. We do have this unit over here of 9-pounder horse artillery that's firing on the Prussians as they push forwards. But I do have my general's bodyguard hidden behind this hill, because if I lose my general, I can't imagine what the morale bonus the morale debuff would be for my troops. He's actually using canister shot, the player of Great Britain, at the moment, trying to destroy my units. I'm just trying to get 2 of them over on this side and then 3 over on this side in an attempt to just stay away and not be too clumped up. The Prussian player as well being very careful to move up his troops. He's got his rifles or his Jaegers spread off to the side. Thankfully, the sand dunes are protecting my units quite a bit from the canister shot. But you can see that a few of them are meeting their mark, and this unit may not make it into that artillery. But these 2 units over here as well are looking a little bit worse for wear. They've definitely got some casualties that have been sustained, and they're also tired from the long march. But look at this point-blank canister shot over here. If they are able to get that fired off, this unit would surely break. But no, we were able to get into that one, which is excellent. We do have the general for Great Britain, unfortunately only walking forward, so he is going to allow us to volley this general. Instead of him getting a charge off on my units, unfortunately canister shot did hit this one though. So he has broken one of my units. Thankfully though, that unit has gone, the general has gone, and this one is thinking about routing as well. I think the army losses are starting to kick in, and with the last of the cannon shots of the Ottoman cannons breaking that unit from the battlefield, the battle is won, but just barely. you could see just the amount of losses that everybody took, almost 1,500 losses per player, which is insane. But thankfully, Graf von Moltke, I think is how you pronounce it, with Prussia and myself able to push forwards. So Tactical Moss did very, very well, I think, especially with that cavalry on that hill charge, but I was just able to overwhelm them without too much trouble. Looking at my unit statistics here, Semat Janissaries 256, 110, and 92, so very good. And you have to remember that even if this was 92, that was probably 92 foot guards or Coldstream guards, so very solid units here. If we scroll down, though, I think a lot of good kills on my mainline infantry, which is excellent. And then even my rifles as well. Almost 200 kills with this one. Almost 150 with this one. And you know what? The Shaternal Camel Gunners, a couple of them not doing too well, but this one with 100 kills I think is perfectly acceptable. So thanks so much for watching, guys. I really hope you enjoyed the return of Napoleon battles on the channel. I have 4 or 5 more replays, including a Napoleon Total War 3 replay that I will try to get out within the next few weeks, so stay tuned for that. But thanks so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you'd like to see more content like this in the future. And as always, I will see you in the next one.